I got to kick this thing off. Can I kick it off? 1, 2, 3, 4. Ladies and gentlemen, listen.
Conversate with Us presents the Man Listens Show. We are the blackest radio show on the internet. We bring you our opinion on topics that affect the black community in an effort to enlighten, enrich, and empower every brother and sister that falls under the sound of our voice. We operate on a no-hating frequency, so be prepared for us to keep it 100% real and 100% black all the time. Please follow the show on Facebook and Instagram at Man Listens Show. You can go to our bio and our Instagram, buy our merchandise, go to our YouTube, click that bell icon, leave a comment, and make sure you let everybody know about the blackest radio show on the internet, the Man Listens Show. I'm your host, Mara B. Let's bring the crew in. So, sad news, y'all. Down in Mississippi, a young man named Nolan Wells, 18 years old, went with a group of friends who happened to be all white to some island in Mississippi for July 4th. The group of friends left him on the island, but they took his phone with them. They said he wanted to stay back. Now, first of all, why a young black man in Mississippi will go out into the woods with a bunch of white folks? I'm not trying to blame the young man, but okay. But I find it mighty suspicious that he would want to stay by himself in the woods on this island by himself. But they took his phone. Days later, his body was found, and his family has a lot of questions. They finally found the phone, and they found that there was a lot of deleted messages, right? And allegedly, there was a video of him getting into an altercation with one of the people on the trip. So obviously, it smells of foul play. Apparently, one of the parents also is a judge in the area. So there's some suspicion about, what that person's involvement is with this. But a lot of the conversation on Black social media centered on why would you allow your child to hang out in an all-white space by themselves like Nolan did. I'm conflicted on that because I understand where people are coming from, but I think you get dangerously into victim blaming when you do that. But I just want to get you all's opinion on the whole situation and what does that mean for our young Black people and the situations that they put themselves in.
I mean, I agree. I think it's definitely victim blaming to say he shouldn't have been in that situation or else this wouldn't have happened. One, he's a child and that's the area that they live in, and knowing the cost of living and how hard it is to pick up and move and go other places. If that's where they live, that's where they live. Those are the friends he made. Those are the friends he made. You can't be like, you can't be friends with these people without a specific reason. Obviously, we can parent to a certain extent, but if we don't have grounds for our child to not be friends with a certain person, you can't just say, well, too bad, you don't need friends. Just grow up without friends and without these social experiences that all children need. But the idea that any teenager wants to be anywhere without their phone is unbelievable to me, period. And the fact that a teenager would want to be separated from his friends without his phone is, again, unbelievable. So I think being a lawyer, I have coached my child immensely on what to do in certain situations. And it always involves calling me first. So I'm 100% sure that judge manhandled and dictated how they operated after whatever happened. And I'm not speculating that there's any fault or blame anywhere because I don't know enough about the facts of the case or the details. I know that it does seem very suspicious that this child was left alone. And I also think it's very suspicious that all of these random token Black people are coming forward to say, I don't think there's any racial tensions anywhere in the school. Like, where'd the coach come from? Like you always say, just be quiet. Just wait and see what happens. You don't even know. You weren't on the island. So why are you getting trotted out as somebody to say our school doesn't have racism? It does. And even if it's just a these are my better friends than you, so I'm going to stick with them if they did something wrong, that still plays a part in this. And I just think that it's unfortunate that the parents have to deal with the scrutiny on both sides. It's one, they're just trying to get answers about their child. Two, they got to go to the extents of getting somebody like Ben Crump to get the answers about their child or to get their child's phone return and all these other things. But then to have people criticizing whether or not they should have allowed their child to be friends with any group of kids. My son grew up in a similar situation, so I can't criticize that at all. And I would leave my child with those other parents all the time. Literally, one of those other parents was the hub for all of the boys. So I definitely can't say anything. I can call them right now and talk to them. My kid's been off at school and had his own kids now. So I don't fault those parents for anything that they did. I just hope that they find the information that they need and the peace that they need because this situation keeps happening. So obviously something needs to be done.
Lab, what you think? Before you
Well,
go, Lab, the judge's name is Ashley Cole, and she's a judge down there. And one of her sons was one of the friends that was out there. So she's made a statement about all this because there's been a lot of scrutiny and accusations made about her involvement, whether it be coaching them on how to handle it, or did she supply alcohol? This is all stuff that people suspect could happen. I was about to make up a word. Y'all know I'm good for that. So it is all alleged, but it does. I think whenever you have one black person with all white people, it's not considered to be far-fetched to be suspicious about how that person it would end up losing their life. So allegedly they say that he drowned and that's how he died.
right. And like Arika hit on, why would you stay without your phone? That makes absolutely zero sense. That's first and foremost. Uh, Secondly, it's location, right? So if this happens in Muskegon, Michigan, it's still going to be racial, but Mississippi, because of the history in Mississippi, that's another layer to it. As far as he shouldn't have been there, I mean, how many of us were 18 and your parents don't know exactly where you were, who you were at all times, right? So, you know, parents allowing their kid to hang out with someone, who knows? The parents might not have quote unquote allowed him. He might have went on his own volition, told his parents he was going X, Y, and Z, and he's over here at ABC. So that kind of thing, can't blame the parents. Now, I do have a little bit of a different take about the white or predominantly white space having your child in one. I do think that's something that we need to be more conscious of, not only because situations like this, but just them navigating school and social interactions. Sometimes it can put an undue burden on them where they have to feel like they're playing two sides of the fence, they're playing in two worlds, and that kind of stuff just accumulates over time, and you go through some traumatic experiences possibly that you don't have anyone else there that can relate to it, and so it is something that we do have to be more conscious of. I feel.
I hear what y'all are saying, but I do think it's incumbent upon us as parents to talk about our children and make sure that they have their spidey senses aware at all times. I mean, we tell them like, hey, listen, if you are on a business trip, we all have, Rika and I have young adults, like you don't get drunk in front of people that you work with. You don't do this type of things. There's certain things that we teach our young women, like, hey, listen, Don't just take drinks from somebody that just says, "Hey, here's a drink." We do tell people to be leery about certain situations because there are people who out here who do not mean you any good and will do you harm. So I don't think it's insensitive, but it's not incorrect to say that we need to warn our children about being in all white spaces alone without being able to get to safety. I saw a situation where there was a young black man who was out with his white friends. He said he couldn't swim, and they left him on one side of this river or this creek, and they were telling him, just swim. He was like, man, I'm scared. I can't swim. And thankfully, a family or white family was coming by on their canoes or their raft or whatever. And while his alleged friends were telling him, like, dude, we taught you how to swim, right? They were trying to make him just basically risk his life. This family came along and they said, hey, grab onto, our raft, our canoe. I don't know exactly what it was. And they pulled him to safety. And when they got him to safety, he says, I'm never hanging with you guys again. There is, I'm just going to say it. There is a level of wickedness that some people have that I think a lot of us underestimate. And I personally grew up in an area where white people really didn't have to worry about the ramifications of how they treated Black people if they wanted to be racist because the space was all white. It's different when you grow up like in a Kansas City or St. Louis or New York or a place like that because, you could go be racist if you want to, but you're going to do it in your little bubble. Because if you do it around other people, you're going to get punched in your mouth. There's a security. And when you are dealing with that type of insensitivity, you really have to be careful about the situations that you put yourself in. And you really do put yourself at great risk. I don't care if you're 18 or if you're 49 like me. There's certain places I'm not going. I have customers who talk about they go hunting all the time. Why don't you come out and go hunting with us? Hell no. They might be great guys, but I'm not going to be the only Black guy out there in the
Dick Cheney.
woods, in the
Yeah.
woods with a bunch of white dudes with guns.
They do shoot each other too.
What's the motherfucker that was the vice president for
That's right, Dick Cheney. Dick
Dick
Cheney.
Cheney? You ain't gonna Dick
Yeah.
Cheney me.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
No,
They'd
right.
been like, look at him. He's 6'3", he's big. We thought he was a bear. We shot him. Shit, no.
And and not even and that's that's not even an extreme situation. That's a common everyday occurrence. People going hunting and accidentally shooting a friend. So they can make up any kind of story, right?
And the thing
And
about it is, to your point, Lab, there may not even been any ill intent. It could have been accidental.
Mhm.
But because Black bodies, Black people have been considered so disposable, how it's resolved, like, okay, we accidentally shot him. We got to call, we got to get him aid as soon as
Right.
possible. You might not get that same level of care because, like, you know
Right.
what? Like, we ain't gonna get in trouble for this shit. We can just go ahead and just say, hey, he
Well,
drowned. He wanted to
we
stay back.
we've seen and I think it might have been in Texas maybe where they were a lot of Black people particularly were now I won't say they were missing, but they were unhoused and lost contact with their family and they died. And the morgues had their information and never reached out to the family member. And they sold them to university. I want to say University of Texas for research and stuff. And they found this out, a couple years ago.
Yeah, it definitely happened.